Hey guys, what's going on? I'm the Timmeister and welcome back once again to the city of Dunswell. What I will be getting into this episode is quite a large project, and that is to reconfigure, or I should say restart from scratch, the city's bus network. So right now, I have one bus line remaining. I deleted all of the other ones, and the one remaining is the Dunswell to Brightwood line. So it simply goes from the city's main bus terminal here, right in central downtown, and it makes its way over here to the ferry and bus exchange stop in downtown Brightwood. So there's just two stops, super simple. I adjusted the amount of buses, so there are only 5 buses going from each location. So this bus line was never meant to be major or super important. It's basically just an alternative to the ferries or the subway or any other type of public transportation that may be available. So this episode, what I would like to do is focus my attention to the downtown's island and industrial island as well. And maybe I'll get into Brightwood a little bit if I have time, but I would certainly like to focus on these two main central islands and get a proper bus network running. Because the last bus network that we had wasn't very optimal. Since then, I have watched a ton of tutorials on YouTube, and I've listened to some of your guys' feedback as well. And from what I gather, the best option for building a bus network in a very urbanized and high-density area is referred to as a coverage network. So basically, it's kind of similar to what we have for subways right here, where you have a train running on one line and then turning around and coming back on that same line. So instead of going through a tunnel, it'll be kind of the same thing but on roads. So yeah, that's what I'm going to attempt to do right here. Okay guys, we're ready to create our first line, but I'm just going to go over some small changes that I just made off camera. One thing that I did is I pushed the train station, or the bus station rather, back a little bit, and then I created this little drop-off zone. And the reason I did that was because buses weren't actually able to turn left. So that was a big problem. They were having to go around this roundabout thing, and it was just causing a ton of congestion, and it wasn't pretty. Another change I made is I put down these bus lane roads just in the downtown area because, this is super congested, and I figured it would help out a little bit. So let's go ahead and finally place down our first line. So it will depart from the main train station, bus terminal, whatever you want to call it, and we're going to service the entire Hemlock Heights area. So this is just going to be a simple, short bus line. We're going to depart from the station, go along this main avenue here with bus stops every 2 or 3 blocks, I'd say. Kind of like this. Then we'll have the final bus stop over here at the Opera House, or whatever this building is. But then here we're going to make a right turn on this street. And I'm going to create a small loop over here, just so these citizens have a bus connection. And then we'll make our way back to the station. This is a super simple, but I think this is going to be a super effective line. So let's go here and let's name this the Hemlock line. And I'm going to change the color to green, lime green. All right, and one thing that's super important to do is to modify our vehicle counter. So we don't have a ton of vehicles flying all over the place here. I think a dozen buses for this line should be enough. Because by default, if you just don't do anything for this, it may spawn 50-some buses, and it's just going to cause a huge amount of congestion, which goes against what a bus line is for. So there we go, guys, our first bus line. I think this should be quite a useful one. And our second line, I wanted to go service Springville, which is over here. So this line's going to be a bit longer, and it's probably going to be one of the most important lines too. So this station, unfortunately, will have to run through this road here, but I'm not going to put a station at the train station. It is walking distance, so we'll be okay with that. So again, every couple of blocks. Oh, why is it doing this? Okay. So there, every couple of blocks or so, we'll have a station. We'll have one over here by the convention center. And then this line will zigzag its way through Springville. Oh, you know what? Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make a series of mini loops here. Okay, and unfortunately won't be able to come back on ourselves here, but that's not a problem. I'll just create... yeah, I'll have a small loop going like this. And then over here, either I won't be able to come back. Actually, yeah, I'll just have it going along the main road like this. Complete line. There, so this line's a bit more complicated. It's a bit longer. And we'll do this, we'll call it Springville. Oh my god, I can't type today. Springville. And this line shall be red. There we go. And the number of buses, this is probably going to be a pretty popular line, so 20 buses should be okay. There, I'm going to hit play. And let's keep going. So let's create a new line. This line here, we'll call it maybe the university line. I'd like it to service this area here. And this line is likely to expand, and actually maybe some of the other lines too, because I want to go for a sort of hub and spoke type transportation situation. So right now this would be the hub. Oh, what's going on here? What doesn't have a connection? Oh, it's just because I made a new line. So right now this is sort of the hub for the entire downtown island, but each area around the city, so like each suburban area will have its own hub. So then I'll have lines connecting each hub. So likely if I create a university line coming down here, the line will eventually be extended probably somewhere over here, just connecting both bus stations. I'm going to use bus stations to create those hubs. All right, so why? Okay, there. Create new line. This line will head directly south over to the university area. And I'll make a small loop over here. Which will come back on itself. And you know what? I think it might be useful if I did this. Yeah. There. So the reason I did this is because this could act as a sort of transition stop. So if you want to go from the red line over to the university line, you can do that. Bam, there we go. So this will be University S. And I'm going to make this line yellow. Alright, and let's quickly adjust the number of buses. So again, maybe 20 buses should be enough. Look at that, we got some decent coverage already. Really, the only place that we have left to do is Bloomingdale. Let's get Bloomingdale. Create new line. Oh yeah, and over here too, I can make this a transition station. Oh shoot, can I do that? Yes, I can. I would like it to loop around like this though. But I can probably remove this station, do this. Yeah, that works out. Going to create a small loop here. And the reason for that is simply to provide an extra connection to the stadium. Sort of. But this might be a bad idea. I don't know. There. Create line. And there we have it. Alright, so this is just a simple bus line network for the downtown island. All right, so let's go into the line overview. Oh crap, did this not rename? This was the university line, right? Yeah, the yellow line, so. University. All right, and then this line shall be Bloomingdale. And then I'm gonna make this line pink. There. So it'll stand out. Oh yeah, and the bus line, amount of buses, 17, we'll go with 15. There we go, guys. So yeah, I mean, this might get a little chaotic, this inner city bus terminal here. I'm not sure how well this is gonna function. We'll have to wait and see. But really the goal of these buses is just to ease traffic. Right? So they're going to cause a little bit of traffic, but they're also going to ease it in another way. All right, so there we go. I think we have some pretty decent coverage. The only area we may be missing is this spot over here. And you know what? Maybe I should just extend the yellow line just a little bit. Yeah, so let's at least have one bus station over here. That should do it. That's better. Okay, so there's one more thing I want to do. I'm going to head on over to Industrial Island now. I had created this makeshift custom bus station And it's never really worked as I intended it to, so I'm going to destroy this whole thing. Alright, and I am going to plop down a bus station over here. Actually, maybe an inner city bus station. Yeah, I think this might work a little better. Oh, anarchy. Yeah, I'll have to put anarchy on in order to fit it. So I'm going to place this down here. Place down some offices. So this will be the hub for Industrial Island. So let's go ahead and create a network specifically for the Industrial Island. And actually, you know what? I'm going to create a new line out of this too, because downtown should be a little bit more densely serviced than it already is. You know, there should be some stations and stuff around these metro stations. So this line will kind of serve two purposes. But holy crap, is the bus station already full? It's going to get pretty hectic here. Alright, so immediately heading out. Oh my god, everybody's dying from noise pollution. I might have to repurpose that zonage. Alright, so let's have this bus heading out onto the main road. And again, every second block or so, we'll have a bus station. There, so this will head on over there. And then here, it'll turn off to the right. With all the crazy one-ways here, this might be a bit challenging. That's alright. There. And then we'll call this Downtown Industrial, I guess. Downtown Industrial. And that's just to point out that it does go from downtown, it services much of downtown, and then goes to the industrial park as well, which is not really that far from downtown, so it's perfect. And then I want this line to be maybe orange. And there we are. All right. Perfect. Okay. Now there's a couple of things I want to do from here now. And this might get a little complicated because there's going to be so many lines. Like right now I have 7, but there's going to be... Oh, what's this line here? Oh, that's the one that I'm just creating. Yeah, but I mean, from each spoke, there's going to be a ton of bus lines heading out from them, so I'll just have to be careful and, like, remember what bus line is which. All right, now, guys, let's head on over to Industrial Island, and let's create a mini bus network for this island. So heading out from this hub, this line will service the agricultural sector. So each sector, I'm thinking, should get its own line. So basically, let's just add a couple of stops along the main road. I want to be careful here because there's a ton of congestion on these main roads. So I'll just have to be mindful of where I place down these stations. But there's not going to be a ton of stations. It's going to be a relatively short line. There. So let's name this agriculture. And naturally, we should make it maybe like a brownish color. Yeah. All right, and adjusting the number of buses. I don't think we need any more than like 7 buses, maybe. Probably won't be a super popular line. So from here, let's now make a line over to the refinery. There, a little something like this. And I'm thinking I should just make this line black just because of oil. And I'm just going to call it oil. And I'm going to reduce this down to like 5 buses. And the quarry. I think just even 2 stops should be okay. I'm not even sure if these lines are going to get used a lot. Maybe. We'll see. And let's do quarry. And I'm going to make this maybe like a pale, actually like maybe a gray color because of the rocks. And reduce this down to, again, 5 buses. And that's pretty much it for over here, although I should make a line going over to the industrial area, just like the general industries. And why does this road turn? See, it makes 2 left turns instead of just continuing straight. That's kind of dumb. Alright, so then this line will head over to this factory. It'll make a loop over here. And because this line's so short, I think I'm just going to make it in a simple loop. We'll call this one Industries. And I'll make it white, I guess. There. And then once we have... I'm thinking maybe the agriculture line can maybe service the forestry line as well. There's no use making 2 lines that go right beside each other. I'm thinking maybe even the quarry line doesn't really make sense. I should have combined the 2. But it's alright. There, so let's see if anybody is even using these lines. I'll have to study this for a little bit. So, I mean, there's 0 for now, but that's okay. We're just going to have to give it a little bit of time, and we'll see. But some of these lines are being used quite a bit, like Hemlock. Springville is being used a ton, but it's also our longest line, so that doesn't really surprise me. University line as well. We're doing great so far. Well, guys, all of that took a little bit less time than I anticipated, so I might as well just do the bus network for the entire city. So let's head on over to Myrtle Park now. Or I keep calling it Myrtle Park, but really it's Port Hope. Like, this entire area should be called Port Hope, but it's okay. Now, let's create a line here, but I want this line to intersect with the yellow line so it can be used as a transfer point between these 2 locations. So let's go here. We'll depart from here and we'll figure out what's going to happen with this line later on. So eventually this area is going to be developed. I just laid down this main avenue here not too long ago, and there's going to be a ton of like commercial and stuff around here. So we're going to make a right turn and we're going to head down this street. So we're going to service all of this portion of the town. All right, then we'll make our way down this street. And this will be like the main bus stop for the rail over here, the subway. And then, of course, we have a hospital here too, so this is a pretty important bus line. And we will begin the loop back over to this station. There we go. I think that's a pretty decent coverage. The only place where there's not very much coverage is over here, but there's not going to be a ton of development here too. This is basically just like a transition road, like a little shortcut to get to downtown. So overall, I think there's some pretty decent coverage over here. And this as well is a pretty long bus line, but it's kind of like just a big major loop. There's going to be more bus lines around here too. I'm maybe going to make a second one over here because there will be some suburbs. And of course, we're going to have to make some more bus stations and, you know, elaborate on the bus system as we expand out more into the suburbs. All right, so line overview. Let's do this Port Hope. And I shall make this line forest green. Oh, yeah, and we're going to adjust the amount of buses. Maybe 25 buses, because this is a pretty long line. Oh yeah, but the thing is over here is there's no bus depot. Actually, you know what? I'm going to place down a biofuel bus depot. The city of Port Hope has some extra budget for some nicer buses. So let's go ahead and place this down. Maybe, maybe like right over here. Oh yeah, but this building's going to need power. There, let's just kind of hide it over here. So it has power, it's got water. Perfect. So these biofuel buses will service the Port Hope area. And there we have it, guys. Let's briefly check on over just to see what our bus lines are doing. It seems that we're getting some pretty decent usage out of all of them. We'll just have to wait a couple of minutes for the Port Hope network. But it seems that nobody's using the Dunswell to Brightwood bus line, so I'm thinking I'm just going to delete this one. It's not really serving any purpose. Like, even the industrial lines are using quite a bit of people. Wow, I'm surprised. Like, industries, 118 people, 42 for the quarry, 25 for oil. I mean, those are going to be some pretty low numbers because it's not like a huge area that those bus lines are covering. But I mean, man, look at that. Like Springville, 384, University, 375. These are high usage numbers. But it's all good because it is drastically reducing the traffic in the city. You know, I should have checked how much it's affecting the traffic flow. But I can tell visually. Look at our train station. Before starting this episode, this was just a huge mess. Like, there was hardly any people walking. There was just an infinite line of cars spawning. It was just a big nightmare. And look at that. Traffic is just free flowing now. It's amazing. Now, there will be a ton of congestion here, I can see, because, I mean, there's just a constant flow of buses heading in and out. But it seems to be working all right. I think this is a pretty successful episode. The buses are probably going to be much more useful, much more functional than they would have been before redesigning this bus network. So I'd just like to thank you guys for that, for giving me some tips and tricks on how to create a more effective bus network. So I'm going to wait a couple of minutes and I'm going to check on how Port Hope is doing, but I think it's going to be all right. So while we're waiting for the Port Hope bus network to develop, let's head over to Brightwood and let's create its bus network. So we're going to create a new line. This line is going to service Hawthorne Hills. I'm going to create a second line that's going to service over here, and eventually I've kind of preemptively laid down some streets here. This is going to be a big commercial / suburban area. There's going to be a bus line servicing this area too, and I'm planning on building a train station too, because we have a train line heading out away from the city, but this would be Brightwood's main train station. All right, so let's depart from here. Oh, crap. There. New line. So this line's going to be quite simple, nothing too extravagant. This is just going to head through downtown. Making little stops along the way. And it will simply head back into the station. Alright, so I'm going to create the lines first, and then I'll play around with, like the bus numbers and the colors and all that. So then this line will be a little bit different. It's going to still service downtown, but it's going to head north from here. And it'll go directly to the subway station, then to the hospital, actually, hold on. Instead of going right to the subway station, I should have it going out this way to the high school, and then around, and then to the metro station, and then looping back. Oh yeah, but I effectively just created a loop. But I mean, loops aren't really the end of the world. I mean, this is a pretty short route. I'm just gonna keep this a loop. Because my city, I know for a fact that my city has loops. I mean, the bus network is pretty terrible, but it has loops. Alright, and then this route will go towards the suburbs over here. There. And this route will probably be expanded on at some point. All right, there we go. So let's take a look here. We have bus line number 14. Let's have this be the purple line. This is the latest one that I created. So let's call this one maybe like West Brightwood. Okay, and the number of buses shall be reduced to 10. Actually, maybe 12. Okay. And then bus line 13. Which one is this? Let's have this one maybe like super light blue. Baby blue. Okay. Oh yeah, and this is like downtown Brightwood. So I'm just going to call it the Brightwood line. And this network should have a little bit more buses, just because it's a loop. You know, there's not constantly buses coming back on themselves, so we'll have 15 buses. And last but not least, line 12 will be maybe like a dark shade of, or a light shade of orange. And this will be the Hawthorne line. And a dozen buses. That should be fine. Oh yeah, okay, and I have a bus depot over here. All right. Well, there we have it, guys. This is a fully complete bus network. Well, I mean, it's never going to be fully complete. The city is going to be ever expanding. Things are going to change. There is still a ton of stuff to be built. So needs are going to change every now and again. But at least this is the complete bus network in its current form. All right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. Actually, let's take a look here. I'm just curious to see how Port Hope is doing. 94 passengers, not super busy, but it's all right. I mean, it's not a super densely urbanized area anyway. So yeah, that will be it for this episode, guys. Next episode, I'm not 100% sure what I want to do, but I have a feeling that we're going to get into the forestry area, just because it's the last industries sector that we haven't developed yet. So that's likely what's going to happen. Other than that, the sky's the limit. We have a ton of room to play around with now. So yeah, tons of interesting things to come. So guys, thank you so much once again for watching. If you like this episode, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, like this video, drop a comment, and until the next episode, take care.